Lesson 1.2 is all about negative exponents. We actually kind of already did this in the first lesson. That would be like having x squared over x cubed. We know that since we're dividing exponents, we subtract the powers, so really this would be x to the 2 minus 3, which is x to the negative first. But we didn't write it like this. What I told you to think about is you're still subtracting 3 minus 2 is 1, but there's going to be that leftover x's in the denominator. So really, x to the negative first became a 1 over x. So really all you need to think about is when you have a negative power, you drop it to the bottom. So think about this line kind of being magic. If you have a negative exponent, you drop it to the bottom. If you have a negative exponent on the bottom, you bring it to the top, and it always becomes positive. All right, so let's try number 1. This one's kind of a multi-step. You would want to simplify the top first, doing your product rule, so that would be a base of x, and then think about 2 plus 2 is 4 over x to the 5th. Okay, so then you could do your 4 minus 5 is x to the negative first, which we said is really 1 over x. Or again, I like to just think 5 minus 4 is 1, but it's more on the bottom. We can never leave it with a negative power. It says right here to simplify using only positive exponents. Okay, number 2 is a 1 over all this stuff. So I told you this is like a magic line here. If it's positive, it's going to stay. If it's negative, I'm going to move it. So now this is really y to the positive 8th power, x to the 6th times x to the 4th. Remember, product rule says to add, so that's really x to the 10th, y squared. Then I can simplify this. 8 minus 2 is 6, so it'd be y to the 6th over x to the 10th. And they have different bases, y and x, so you can't do anything else with them. All right, number 3, same thing. We're going to move anything that has a negative exponent. So I'm going to keep the x to the 5th. It'll be y to the 8th, y to the 6th over x cubed. 5 minus 3 would be x squared. It would stay in the numerator, and then this is multiplying exponents, so you're adding the powers, so it would be y to the 14th. You would have no denominator. All right, number 4, this is our power rule. So we want to, there's 2 things. Either you could go ahead and distribute this negative, or what I want you to think about is since this is negative, let's drop this whole thing to the denominator. So let's now make this a 1 over 4x to the positive 2nd power, okay? So anything in parentheses with a negative power, just drop the whole thing to the bottom, and all you're changing is the power into a positive. So now it's 1 over, you would have to have 4 squared, 16, and then x squared. The other option you could do is go ahead and distribute your power. So you'd have 4 to the negative 2nd, x to the negative 2nd, then you would have to drop everything down. So you could do that as well. And 4 squared is 16. So either way. All right, and last one, I want you to see the difference between problem number 4 and number 5. See how there's no parentheses around this negative 5x? That means the only thing that gets the power is what's right in front of it. So only the x is negative to the negative power. Negative 5 is just negative 5, so we're going to leave it in the numerator. Then we're going to fix this negative exponent by bringing it down and making it to the positive 3rd power. So not hard, but I want you to distinguish the difference the parentheses make around the base versus no parentheses.